Now, so let's go ahead and talk about the next one. Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. You're like, why are the Utah Jazz wanting to trade those two dudes? And I think the reason is Keontae George, who they said, oh, is our point guard of the future, is not their point guard of the future. Keontae George is not a point guard. I think anybody who watches basketball will tell you that he is not a point guard. There's nothing wrong with it, but if they know what's right for them, they would go ahead and try to find that future point guard. And Keontae George needs to develop. And I think the best way for them to go ahead and try to develop Keontae George would be by going ahead and by playing him at the combo guard position, which is his natural position. And then by finding themselves their pure point guard. Now, by moving Clarkson and Colin Sexton, Colin Sexton's both of those guys are more six-mans and both more guys who need the ball in their hands. So if you truly believe Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George are the two guys you need to build around, then let's get the ball in those guys' hands as much as possible. You have to do that. You have to. Oh my God. Dave Swinger, you're right. Dave Swinger. I said great catch on that. Great catch on that. I also said Pistons about Boyan, and that was so stupid of me. Great. I'm going to have to remember that for later. But going back to the Utah Jazz. So the Utah Jazz right here are a team that I think they're just looking like, hey, we need to move off of these contracts. As I grab more water. But we need to move off of these contracts, and we need to give our young guys minutes. Now, there is no good point guard available in free agency. I think that is evident. I think everybody knows that. And I think contending teams will want Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. So, or rebuilding team or a team maybe like the Wizards will want. The Wizards don't really want Colin Sexton because they have Jordan Poole. So 18 and 14 is what 18 for Colin Sexton, 14 for Clarkson. If I were the Utah Jazz, I would call up the Lakers and I would be like, Jordan Clarkson for Maxwell Lewis and Gabe Vincent. You get yourself a backup point guard there. Then I would turn around for a guy like Colin Sexton. We need a wing. And the wings that are going to be available for like $15 to $18 million aren't anything. You first off could say, here is Colin Sexton. Give me DeAndre Hunter and a couple second round picks from the Hawks. And then the Hawks have a backup point guard, but I don't think they want to be paying three guards like $18 plus million. So it's nice in theory. But I think a team that you could either find is, I don't think the Charlotte Hornets would do it for Davis Bertans, and plus I think Davis Bertans' contract is a little bit tweaked. But maybe you could say, how does Dennis Schroeder and Daron Sharp, I know you don't need another big, but that could work from the Nets if you were trying to do something like that. Or you could call up the Orlando Magic and be like, how does Caleb Houston and Cole Anthony sound for Colin Sexton, which then allows you to give them a guard in return who's probably better than Cole Anthony, and you also get yourself a young player. And I just really think that you could find moves where you're able to send it off. Another one is you call up the Spurs and you say Julian Champagnie, I believe it is, Charles Bassey, and Devontae Graham for Colin Sexton. Devontae Graham is waived, and you only have to give him his guaranteed. He has a $12.8 million or $12.6 million guaranteed contract, or $12.6 million contract. Only 2.8 is guaranteed, so you could just cut him. So I think those are two deals that, just looking at it, you would be able to just easily move on from that money pretty easy. And I think that's what you're going to do with Colin Sexton, is try to find deals like that where you're able to trade him for a deal that allows you to save money And I think that's the biggest problem here is just trying to figure out how are we going to trade these players, because first off, I don't think it's the world's best contract that Mr. Colin Sexton's on. I think Clarkson's going to be the easier one to move. I do believe that Sexton might be the one that's going to be a little harder to move, just because of the size that that contract is. It's not his fault, but it is a rather big one. And for a player who's a six man, he should have been more on a similar value of Jordan Clarkson, in my opinion. But hindsight is 2020. But yeah, like I want to hear your guys' opinion on that one. It's definitely interesting. Now, yeah,